Welcome to Mahipal Reddy GK House. Myself Prithviraj Reddy. Today we are going to discuss current affairs. Coming to the first and foremost item, Jagannath Pahadia passes away. Who is he? He was the Rajasthan Chief Minister who worked between 1980 to 1981. And very much important point about him was he was the first Dalit CM of Rajasthan, and he worked as governor of Haryana and Bihar, and also he served as Lok Sabha member for 4 times. Okay. Coming to the second aspect, Rajiv Shankar Rao Satav passed away. Who is he? He's a Rajya Sabha member from Congress party. He born in Pune city, and he was in the Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Defence and Consultative Committee for the Civil Aviation. He occupied very much important position from Congress party. He died due to COVID, post-COVID infections. And coming to the next news item, World Bee Day, which is celebrated on May 20. Okay, who is celebrating? United Nations organization. What is the purpose? Basically, these bees are acting as pollinators. Okay, pollination is very, very important for the crop productivity, and it is nothing but ecosystem service. Okay, service rendered by the ecosystem. Okay, we have to create an awareness regarding the importance of the bees and other pollinators and the threats faced by them. What are the threats? So it could be fertilizers usage, it could be pesticides usage. Okay, any indiscriminate spraying of the pesticides and chemicals must be discouraged. Okay, that's the reason why this particular day is celebrated by United Nations organization. Why only May 20th? Okay, because it marks the birth anniversary of Anton Jansa of Slovenia, who was the pioneer of the modern beekeeping techniques. Pioneer means he was a beginner, and this day has been declared since 2017, when United Nations General Assembly adopted such a resolution. Okay, so this much information you have to remember. And next important thing is May 20th is also celebrated as World Meteorology Day. Okay, so which is marking annual celebration of the signing of the Metric Convention on 20th May 1875, because there must be identity, or there must be similarity between all the metrics used across the world. Okay, so that's the reason why the theme is measurement for health, and the objective of the convention was worldwide uniformity of the measurement. This is what the important point to be noted. Okay, and the theme is measurement for health sector, how the measurements must be. So this is the focus now. Next important thing is UNESCO World Heritage Site from India. Actually, UNESCO had selected 6 sites from India into its tentative list, and these sites were proposed by Archaeology Survey of India. Along with these sites, additionally, already there are 48 sites from India. And coming to the sites proposed by the Archaeology Survey of India, first one is Maratha military architecture, which belongs to the Maharashtra state. Temples of Kanchipuram belongs to Tamil Nadu. Satpura Tiger Reserve belongs to Madhya Pradesh. Hire Bengal megalithic site from Karnataka, and Bede Ghat, Lameta Ghat in Narmada Valley, which is called the Grand Canyon of India. This is what very, very important. Question may come. So Grand Canyon of India is, so in that way they may ask you. It is from Jabalpur district of Madhya Pradesh. And Ganga Ghats, the iconic riverfront of the historic city, that is Varanasi. It is obviously in UP. So these are the sites which are selected and proposed by the Archaeology Survey of India to be inducted into the UNESCO list of World Heritage Sites. So what is the tentative list? Tentative list means it is an inventory or list or registry of sites or constructions which a country intends to get them inscribed in the UNESCO World Heritage List. Okay, before something entered into the World Heritage List, it will be put under the tentative list initially. Okay, so UNESCO means United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. The Director General is Audrey Azoulay, and it is headquartered in Paris of France. Coming to what is World Heritage Site? So World Heritage Site is something which is a landmark or area selected by the UNESCO for having cultural, historical, scientific or other forms of the significance. Okay, so it could be cultural significance, it could be historical significance, or it could be scientific significance, which is legally protected under international treaties. So in that way, it will be getting some international significance for its protection. And these sites are judged to be important for the collective and preservative interests of the humanity. So these sites would signify the entire humanity, not only about one country. At present, India has how many sites? 38 World Heritage Sites. Okay, all these sites are under the ministry are conserved as per the Archaeology Survey of India's conservation policy, and these are all in the good shape. Okay, so Dholavira, a Harappan city, has been submitted for the nomination for the WHS, that is World Heritage Site in 2019 to 20. Okay, so other aspects are also proposed for the inclusion. And next important aspect is Summit on Financing of African Economies of 2021. You understand, African economies are completely in the doldrums. They are undergoing serious crisis. So that's the reason why a meeting was held in the Paris of France, and the meeting was held in the hybrid format, both in person as well as the video conferencing. And on behalf of India, who attended this meeting? V. Muralidharan. On the virtual way he had attended. And what is the objective of this particular meeting? To arrange financial resources for reviving the economies of Africa. So this is what the objective behind this particular summit. So what India contributed to Africa? Initially, as a part of Vaccine Maitri initiative, it had supplied 27 million doses of indigenous COVID-19 vaccines to almost all 42 countries. This is what a great help. When no country came forward to help out Africa, India had contributed all these things. And in the year 2015, okay, in the third India Africa Forum Summit, India offered $600 million as a grants and loans worth of 10 US dollars, 10 million US dollars. Actually, India had already fulfilled 60% of this particular promise. And coming to what is the economic status of Africa? Africa is experiencing the recession, that is deceleration in the growth more than 3 months. Okay, and which is due to the COVID pandemic. You know, COVID had made all the economies of the world impacted. So since African economy is very much fragile economy, it is the most affected. And financial requirement, what is the size of the financial requirement? It is 285 billion US dollars for the next 4 years. So countries are meeting, so they are trying to help Africa out by giving some financial aid to Africa to come out of this particular crisis. And next important current affair is Renewable Energy Attractiveness Index. Who released this particular index? Ernst and Young. So this is what a private agency which has released this particular report. So it is a 57th report and it is a biennial report. And what is the India's rank? So it is a rank secured by India is third rank. Okay, previously in the 56th report, it was the fourth rank. India had improvised its rank out of the 40 countries. And first rank was backed by USA and second rank goes to China. So basically, renewable energy attractiveness index is to explain how far the country is contributing for the establishment of the renewable energy resources in a particular country. So when a country is enhancing the policy environment in the direction of more renewable energy, more investments will come. So in that way, the country's rank will be dependent. So this particular renewable energy attractiveness index, so it is a biannual report. It ranks top 40 countries based on the attractiveness of the renewable energy investment. Okay, how attractive the investment would be, whether it would be giving you profits or not. Basically, private sector is more profit oriented. If there is no profit, they won't invest, right? So that's the reason why it will measure that sort of attractiveness for the private sector to invest in the renewable energy sector in a particular country. And next one, the report of Internal Displacement Monitoring Center. So what is this report actually? It is 2021 global report on internal displacement. Okay, so to measure how the people are migrating from one place to the other place because of distress. Displacement means, it does not mean people are going on a voluntary basis. Because of the crisis, because of the stress, because of the compulsion or urgency, people will be moving from one place to the other place. And what it says, the number of people living in internal displacement reached 55 million at the end of the 2020. So globally, people are under the stress because of the COVID pandemic. And highest number of internally displaced people are in China. Second, it comes Philippines. Thirdly, it comes Bangladesh. So these are the top three countries where people are being displaced at the higher pace. And India, there are 39 million displacements. 3.9 million people are being displaced. Okay. And coming to the other report, Prime Global Cities Index of Knight Frank. So what is this Knight Frank? Knight Frank is London-based property consultant, and this index measures the property valuation in various cities. So in this particular report, Delhi rank got dropped from 31st to the 34th, and Mumbai's rank was dropped from 35th position to 36th, and Bengaluru settled at 40th rank from its earlier rank of 36th rank. It means the property valuation is decreasing across the Indian cities. Okay, this is what the indication from this particular index. Okay, because of this uncertainty, because of the crisis moment. Okay, and the top three cities are Shenzhen, Shanghai, Guangzhou. These are from the China itself. Okay, and whereas the weakest performing market is New York. You can understand how global uncertainties are prevailing and how even the developed countries are being impacted by this particular crisis. And next report is Standard and Poor's report. Okay, what does it say? Standard and Poor's is nothing but it is a global rating agency. So it says India is second largest insurance technology market. Okay, in Asia Pacific region after China. After China, India is the second more attractive country as far as the insurance technology market is concerned. It is accounting 35% of the total venture capital. Okay, and the report further stated that India is the third largest ecosystem in the insurance technology. So India is becoming very much attractive country for the insurance sector because it is more populous. So in coming days, there is no wonder India may even overtake China in this particular insurance technology market. So Standard & Poor's is a global company, and it is headquartered in New York City of United States of America. And the National Basketball Association had created a social justice award. So basically this award is named after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is American boxer who worked for the social justice, and to recognize the efforts of the sportsmen in the way of establishing social justice, this award will be announced. So each National Basketball Association team will be nominating at least one player for the award, and from which 5 finalists will be chosen. So out of these 5 finalists, one winner will be chosen, and the winner will be receiving this much amount, that is $1 lakh, and this much amount can be used for the charity purpose. So this is an award which was created by National Basketball Association. And next important current affair is Giant Web Telescope. It is NASA's project. It is Giant Web is world's largest and most powerful space science telescope. So it tries to explore the science across the entire space, and it successfully completed pre-launch test, and it is going to be launched in coming days. And the name of the telescope, as you know, James Webb Space Telescope. And the next important thing is very important thing. America will always be in one step ahead in mounting or in establishing a stronger anti-missile system. United States of America is actually strengthening its satellite-based anti-missile defense system. So one of this kind is GEO-5 missile warning satellite. So who launched it? United Launch Alliance. And the name of the satellite is Space-Based Infrared System Geosynchronous Earth Orbit Flight. So shortly it is called SBIRS GEO-5. So it is launched by Atlas 5 rocket. So coming to the satellite, it is a missile warning satellite built by the Lockheed Martin, which is a private company. And the GEO-5 rocket is the fifth one in the constellation. Already 4 rockets were launched, 4 satellites were launched. It is a part of a group of these particular 5 satellites. So these will be working in coordination with each other to detect and to warn the incoming missiles into America. So it is ULA's first launch in the 2021. So what is this particular ULA? ULA means United Launch Alliance, and it is an American space launch service. It is a joint venture between LM Space and Boeing Defense Space and Security. So it means private sector is very much stronger in America compared to India. It is contributing to the defense and space technology of United States of America. United States Space Force, that is called USSF. It is the space service branch of United States Armed Forces. It is the world's first space force. You understand? So you may get a question: which of the following countries have the what is that space force for the first time? Okay, that is United States of America. And the ULA's president is Salvatore T. Torre Bruno. It is headquartered in Centennial, and it is in Colorado of United States of America. And United States Space Force, the chief is John W. Raymond, and it is headquartered in Pentagon of Washington, DC, United States of America. And next important thing, as far as the defense development in India, BEML, that is Bharat Earth Movers Limited, it is the defense undertaking, and which had developed minefield marking equipment that is called MK2 for the Indian Army. So MK2 is the first prototype type. Actually, this particular equipment would try to mark the mines which are planted in the areas. Okay, it would try to identify them so that the armed forces can be freed from the dangers. Okay, the equipment is built on the Tatra truck. So it is developed through technology transfers from R&D establishment of the DRDO, which is a lab of DRDO, that is R&D establishment engineers. Okay, and this MK2 helps in marking the minefields at a faster rate in a semi-automatical manner. Okay, so minefields will be marked, and this particular BEML is expected to receive orders for 55 units from DRDO. Okay, so the chairman and MD of this particular BEML is MV Rajshekhar. It is headquartered in Bangalore. Next, very important current affair, Simorgh. So what is it? It is a supercomputer system which is developed by Iran, and it is designed by Amir Kabir University of Technology. As far as the Simorgh is concerned, Iran is claiming it is used for the artificial intelligence intelligence for workloads, traffic, weather data, image processing. So for all good purposes, it will be used. And it is having the processing power of 0.56 petaflops. So the computer, this particular supercomputer, is going to be used for the civilian purpose according to the Iran. But we do not know for what purpose this particular system is going to be used, because the Western countries generally claim that this is going to be used for the nuclear arms development. And another supercomputer which is going to be developed is Mariam. It is under the development. And it is about retirement of a sports person. Her name is Barbora Stajkova. She is from Czech Republic, and her achievements include she had won 2 WTA singles titles and 31 double titles, and she also won bronze medal in the year 2016 in the Rio Olympics. So thank you so much, friends. I will meet you in the next class. And if you have any queries, please post in the comment box. Thank you so much.